Good afternoon, and thank you so much for meeting with us. We are really excited to show you our project management plan for the K-12 Technology Integration and Professional Development sessions. Developed by myself, Nathan Elequin, and my partner, Garmondyu Whorway. We are excited to show you what we've got today. So first, as a quick overview of what we're looking at here, we have broken down the 5 major phases of how we'll be managing your project into define, plan, organize, control, and close, with a few subtasks right there, and I'm going to be showing you these bullet points in a second here. So that's a general overview of exactly how we'll be organizing it. Now, as we've sat down and defined previously, the teachers in the K-12 middle schools are not able to effectively and efficiently use the varieties of educational technologies that are necessary to improve their student learning. And so the opportunity for us is to implement a comprehensive professional development strategy so we can train the teachers to skillfully take advantage of new technology in their instruction. So as we think about the different pieces that will include, such as 2-week summer training, improving our support staff, and providing the bi-monthly developmental sessions, we have a few goals that we've drafted up together and some outcomes that we're looking for. The main goals are pretty clear: that teachers would be able to become effective users of old and new technologies, and that they'd be able to integrate those technologies into their instruction. And so we've listed the outcomes here as a few major things that we want to hold ourselves accountable to so that we can really knock this out of the park. Now, here's a list of some of the assumptions and risks that we're looking at. Now, assumptions are the things that we assume must take place or might take place throughout the course of the project. But the risks are things that could happen if we do not undertake this project. And while they are straightforward, I do think that there is a risk of teachers never finding true supplemental resources to train themselves on using the new technologies that you've proposed. So that's hopefully what this project will be able to solve. Let's move on to the plan phase. As we look at the work breakdown structure, here we have a general estimate of the major tasks, each color-coded right here, from designing the universal PD, professional development curricula, all the way down to beginning the project management process for any future phases you choose to collect. And we have set those lengths of estimated time by days and by periods being work weeks of about 5 days each. And so as we think about all those different tasks, we've been able to break down the absolute critical path. So we cut away all the mess, and this critical path shows the main steps that are necessary in order for you to move from designing the curriculum all the way to restarting the cycle for year 2, where your teachers will be included in this process and be able to experience the professional development that we've created. So the work packages breakdown is it's a mammoth of a spreadsheet here, but here's how it works. The first thing that you should be paying attention to are these 3 colored sections: blue, orange, and gray. We believe that we can break down your project into 3 primary phases with distinct tasks. The first being curricular design, the second, the professional session development, and the third being implementation and evaluation, which we put together because they're happening simultaneously throughout the summer sessions and academic school year. So all these little colored blocks correspond to the different personnel or responsible persons that are completing each of these tasks. So the next thing that I want to show you is right here under the hiring criteria. This list of skills is extremely important because what it gives us is a set of things that we could be looking for when we are hiring people to fill each of these positions. Here's that chart in a little bit more detail, so you can see that for the educational technologists, the instructional designers, or the program evaluators, you've got a number of things that we think are necessary for this program to be executed successfully. And so you can have the chance to look at that in more detail later. This right here is the leadership structure. Specifically, what happens all the way at the top with the superintendent down to each of the teachers, the janitors, the facilities, the videographers, and the graphic artists, and who reports to who. And I just want to point out that the instructional design or curricula team will be responsible for providing a lot of insight to the technology integration specialists, the ones that will be working directly with the teachers, which are the audience for this particular program. So here we've got a simplified Gantt chart. This shows you the entirety of the program. So we've got a 2-year mock-up calendar up here at the top with each of those months, and each of the phases broken down just so you can have a general overview of how quickly we'll be moving through each of the main phases. But this is a more specific looking Gantt chart, what you would expect to find for each of the major tasks that are in this assignment. So you can see here that there are the task 1.2, developing the 2-week summer PD sessions, And this would primarily be worked on between April and July in terms of developing the sessions themselves, from making the materials all the way down to preparing the payroll system for the teachers and instructors. Now, as we're moving on through the control phase, this is the system that my team typically uses when doing variance reporting. And so we would expect that those managing this project would use a software similar to this in order to track each of the steps in the process of completing the subtasks for this project in real time. You can see here that the blue lines are the curricular design phase 1, and the orange lines are for phase 2 in the professional session development. So these can be happening simultaneously with different personnel overseeing them, which you can see in that middle column to find out who's responsible for what. But the status reporting, those colored bars in the right side of the screen there that say on schedule, needs approval, behind, or stuck, that's really important from a manager's perspective and from the client's perspective to make sure that you are getting that product on time. And finally, based on all of that variance reporting and the scheduling that we've done, the personnel that we've hired, we hope that we'll be able to sit down to some very favorable closing meetings with all of our attendees here, which are listed, and conduct all of the major tasks that are on the right side here, with the audit, presenting all of the deliverables, like many of the things that I have been showing you, and presenting the recommendations for future improvements. The evaluation strategy is built into this project, and so we would be excited to show you the reports of what worked well, what didn't, and how you could make your money or time go to the absolute best advantage as we are preparing for the future. So that really concludes the general overview of what this project will entail. And we would really recommend that you look through our report along with several of our supplemental documents and graphics to get a clearer insight into what this project entails. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I would be happy to answer them as we become as closely engaged as possible with making this project a huge success. So thank you for your time.